Shalom. Welcome from Kahal Joseph. We're going to do a small class on Sukkot, some of the deeper meanings and some of the laws connected to Sukkot. So Sukkot is Man Simchatenu. Each holiday, like Passover, is Man Cherutenu, the time of our freedom. Shavuot is Man Matan Toratenu, the time when we receive the Torah. And Sukkot is Man Simchatenu, the time of our joy. A simple reason why it's a time of our joy is that in Israel, when they would finish collecting the produce, it was in the time of Sukkot when it was the last produce. So someone already had been satisfied because they knew what they had received, and they weren't in a state of non-knowing of what they would get with the produce. So Sukkot is already when everything has come, and it's the time when we're rejoicing for the blessings we've already received. So too spiritually, it's a time where we're gathering in those blessings of all the different holidays like Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The lights are coming down on Sukkot. We're starting to gather down the blessings. And that has to do with the Sukkah itself and sitting in the Sukkah itself and looking at the Schach. It says we should look at the Schach, Leman, that we should know that in the Sukkot, in these booths, Hashem made the children of Israel dwell when they were in the desert and had left Egypt. So when we do the mitzvah of the 4 species in the sukkah, it's specifically like the sukkah is something that's completely surrounding us, and it's not really coming inside of us in a way that's kind of fitting to our internal powers, so to speak. It's a light which is more powerful than us spiritually, and that's why physically on the corresponding level it surrounds us as well. It's not even touching us, it's around us. So that light can't always get translated in a way that we can necessarily understand or perceive. What we're doing with the 4 species, which we're actually holding, and the 4 species also represents every kind of soul in our nation, in the sense that the palm branch, that's the lulav, is straight and long, and that represents someone who learns Torah. And that's why it tastes good. It tastes good like the Torah tastes good, and it grows very high, so to speak, just like when we learn Torah, it uplifts us. The lulav is also the spine, in a sense, which is the entire body, kind of is connected to the spine since it's so important and integral to the entire body. Then you have the etrog. The etrog has good smell and good flavor, so to speak, and that represents someone who learns Torah and does mitzvot, who does both. They might not be as devoted to Torah study like the Torah scholar who is the date branch. The etrog also, but has mitzvot, which is a good smell. That's mitzvot. Mitzvot create a spiritual smell, so to speak. The next one is the myrtle. That smells good, the myrtle branch, which represents people that do mitzvot and do the commandments, yet they might not really study Torah. They're more simple, in a sense. And then you have the last level, the type of person who doesn't really learn and doesn't really do many commandments either. And that is the willow branch, which has no smell and no flavor. The mitzvah of the 4 species is to gather every single one of them. With missing one of them, it's not kosher. We need them all. We do the blessing inside the sukkah, and we're drawing down these surrounding blessings, so to speak, that is represented by the schach and the sukkah, and we're drawing it down into our life. The mitzvah of the sukkah is teshvu basukot, sit in the sukkot, but it also means teshvu ke'en taduru, like you live. The things you do in your home, so you should do in the sukkah. Eat in the sukkah, have your meals in the sukkah. If you can, pray and learn in the sukkah. It should be comfortable. We make a blessing for sitting in the sukkah since it is a mitzvah. We do the blessing that you commanded us and sanctified us to sit in the sukkah, and we make the blessing when we eat a meal or eat a fitting amount of the mezonot, so to speak, a cake or a cookie or something that's that nature. The mitzvah of the sukkah is for the first 7 days of the holiday of Sukkot, and the last day, 8th day, we sit just because of it's a doubt, so to speak. So we sit on the 8th day, but without making the blessing. If someone is able to sleep in the sukkah, that's great. So that's also kind of like living, that we live in the sukkah. We have the guests that visit in the sukkah, and every guest is a special guest and is connected to a special night. And they all come, all these spiritual guests come every night, but there's an emphasis on one of them every single night. Why is there an emphasis? Who are these guests? They are the forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses, Aaron, David and Shlomo, King David and Solomon, and Yosef, some say. Some say it's Solomon, some say it's Yosef. So let's say for our case that it's both, thank God. And in the Hasidic tradition, it says that some Hasidic rabbis always visit us, like the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid of Mezrich as well. The souls of these holy people are visiting us to bless us with their energy. Abraham was connected to great kindness and revealing and teaching people about God, even people that might not have any clue about God and might not be fitting to learn about God. Abraham taught them about God. One of the ways he did this was by being in the desert and having his tent open to everyone in the desert where there was no food or water, and he had wonderful, tasty food and delicacies. And when the people would get up to leave and thank him, he would say, "Don't thank me, thank the Creator, Hashem, God, who made these wonderful things that you could have in the desert." He would teach them to bless Hashem, to bless God. Sometimes people would say, "I don't believe in God or the Creator. I don't want to bless him." Abraham would say, "If so, then you believe the food is mine. Then you must pay me for the food. And where would you find such treats in the desert like this kind of meat and bread?" So he would say, it's a lot of money. And they would say, I would rather bless God than pay that money. So one way or another, Abraham was getting these people to bless God and thank him. Isaac is the next night. He is connected to severity, so to speak, justice. Isaac, in the sense, he is revealing the godliness within the concealment. That's justice spiritually, Gvura, and the Sfirot, the supernal spheres that Hashem uses to create the world. And that's why Isaac dug wells. That wells is revealing the water that's hidden in the earth. Then you have Jacob, who is Tiferet and mercy. Tiferet is beauty, that he combines Abraham and Isaac. He combines the kindness and the severity and knows how to meet them out when is necessary. Moses is victory. He brought us the Torah down, and he's prophecy, the greatest prophecy, which is connected to Netzach, victory. Aaron is Hod. He holds us together and blesses our nation and keeps the blessing, keeps it intact, protected. Then you have Yesod, which is Joseph, the tzaddik, who's connected. Yesod is connection. And then you have Malchut, the kingship, King David and Solomon. That brings it down. That's connected to speech and action, creation, even this physical creation that we see as physical and that seems to be concealing God is really God creating everything. And God's creation and soul and spirit, so to speak, is inside of every single thing, even the inanimate objects that we do not see. And we are blessed so in Sukkot. So may we be blessed this year to have an amazing Sukkot, and all of our hearts' desires for good may be fulfilled. God bless you all, and Shana Tova.